This is a new thing we're starting. It's called Motorcycle Confessions. My name's Scott Marshall. I'm the owner of Salty Cycles here in Hutchinson, Kansas. We'll come back a little background on me. I'm going to introduce these two guys sitting here with me. We've got Tony Railsback.
Yes, my name is Tony Railsback. I am here today representing A-Beta Kansas and the MRF. I am the current lobbyist for A-Beta Kansas, and our goal is to try to keep motorcycle legislation in its proper perspective at the state level and the federal level.
Good deal. And I'm Jimbo Iverson. I'm a member of the Nemesis Motorcycle Club out of Harrington, Kansas, and I'm also the first chair for the Kansas Confederation of Clubs. I know when a lot of people see the motorcycle clubs out and about, they don't realize just how much involved we are in the legislative process and work hand in hand with my friend Tony here.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, anyway, so what the plan is here is to try to get some motorcycle awareness and education out to everybody. We've got a lot of people always asking questions. We wanted to kind of bring together a format here where we can get information out, let everybody know some of the stuff that's going on that you may not even know. I think you're going to be shocked some of the stuff you hear. But, past that, we'll do a little quick background on who I am, why Salty Cycles is here. Salty Cycles was founded in 2017. Then in January of 2020, we opened for our first day of business. So we opened in the COVID year. Figured why not? Government was giving away money. We'd try to get some of it. And, it sort of worked. Not that well. I still have a day job. I'm a full-time vice president of a corporation over in Newton, Kansas. This glamorous world of motorcycle shop has not really turned into a escape plan to a normal 8 to 5 job, or I don't know, maybe it's a 7 to 7 job. But whatever the case, this is kind of my secondary job. Get off work, come home, do this. Really, it's exciting. It's my passion. I love it. Been in motorcycles since I was this tall, probably like everybody else. I had a Z50. Did you have a Z50?
No.
You were deprived.
My first, I started late. I didn't get into motorcycles until I was in my early 20s.
Okay.
And my first motorcycle, I started to learn how to ride when I was stationed in Europe.
Very cool.
My first motorcycle was a Kawasaki 440 LTD.
Is that why you ride on the wrong side of the road all the time? Or is that just because you're passing everyone?
It depends on what time of day or night it is,
Well, I'll have to jump in here and say my first real motorcycle was a Suzuki Bearcat.
Okay.
Man, that had to have been back in the 60s, maybe.
You know what, Tony? We got a Suzuki Bearcat upstairs over there.
Really?
Yeah, you're gonna have to see it.
Really, I will take you up on that.
Absolutely.
Someday. I literally rode that I don't know how many years. It just when nothing else had run, you could go out and give that thing a couple kicks and off you go.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you have to check that thing out. Actually, it's kind of a survivor. So
yeah.
Pretty cool. Go ahead and pass this over to Jimbo and let him talk a little bit about some of the stuff he's doing, some of the stuff he's working on. Tony, feel free to jump in. I know you guys kind of intermingle on a lot of this.
We do.
Yeah.
Before I get into this, I'd like to say, first and foremost, Scott, thanks for having this shop.
Oh, yeah. You bet.
Okay. I've rode cross country from California to North Carolina and back. And I remember when the Harley Davidson dealerships, you'd go into a dealership in the late 70s, early 80s, and there were drip pans under the bikes.
Yeah.
And these shops, the dealerships were in the cities like you are here. And then as we progressed, they seem to move those dealerships. They want them on the highways. Okay. And now when we look around, if you get on the highway in Topeka, you don't see another dealership till you get to Colorado. We're talking hundreds of miles.
Right.
And if people don't know that you're here to work on their bikes and what have you, if you don't know somebody intermittently between Topeka, Kansas, and the Colorado border,
Or you're from out of state.
Yeah, and out of state, you're basically kind of screwed if it wasn't for people like you that have these shops readily available for us, that we can come in and get good quality work at a decent price. And thank you for
Appreciate
that.
that. Yeah,
You
thank
know,
you.
I mean, basically how I made my way here. You know,
Right.
I stopped at the dealership. They wanted over $500 for a basic service.
Right.
And that was before the AMSOIL and everything else. And I come here and your people treat me great.
Well,
And
thank you for that.
Thank you. The prices are great, you know, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well,
Awesome.
plug this a little further. It's also a great place to buy a motorcycle if you've got any interest. You come in here, don't see what you want, tell him what you want. I guarantee you he can find it. Just give him a couple days and he can find it. That being said, in the last couple of years, I've bought 2 motorcycles in here
Right
myself. So,
Right on.
You know, and to get back, you know, the Confederation of Clubs.
Right.
When people see the motorcycle clubs, they don't realize your motorcycle clubs from the 60s were our first real freedom fighters. You know, then we talk about profiling. And if there's any of the booze fighters out there watching this right now, the first profiling case was actually staged by the media in 1942 in a little town called Hollister. Okay? And since then, there's movies like The Wild Bunch based it off that and what have you. So profiling is nothing new in the motorcycle world. And right now, people don't realize there's only 5 states in the United States that have anti-profiling, motorcycle profiling laws, to where if it happens, there's repercussions. You know, in Kansas, we've been working on it for years, and we've got a House bill, and thank you for Tony for this, but House Bill 2286 is something that was introduced last year by Representative Hill. And hopefully Representative Fairchild is going to pick up on it this year. And for the first time in the history of anti-profiling, we have 535 elected representatives in Washington, D.C. And it's the first time all 535 of them have come together and agreed that there's a motorcycle profiling problem in the United States. And we're here to try to fix that. And I'm telling you, everybody out there, and another thing get in touch with your legislators, because it does make a difference. And one of the other things that the Confederation of Clubs has been working on since 2016 has been the disabled parking spaces. Come to find out, in the state of Kansas, if you have a disabled parking or tag on your car, you can't get one for your motorcycle. You only authorize one, and we just learned this last week, huh?
yep.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, just one. So if you have it on your car, you can't get it on your motorcycle. Well, our representatives have taken it on themselves to bring forth a bill. Hopefully it'll pass this year, to where if you do ride a motorcycle and you're disabled, you'll be able to get a disabled tag for your motorcycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's just a
That's
couple
awesome.
of the things
Yeah,
we're working on.
That was brought up to us. We didn't go to them for that. We weren't even aware of it. And kind of why we're talking about profiling. Also last year at the Senate side, Senate Bill 108 was introduced, and it's also motorcycle profiling on the Senate side. And it didn't get any traction last year either. It was assigned to Judiciary Committee, and they're a real tough committee to get in and get a hearing on, but we've been hammering on our door, so hopefully we can make some progress and get a hearing. Both of these bills need a hearing before they can go anywhere. And our legislature runs in 2-year sessions. This is the last year of the 2-year session. So if we don't make it to the top with either one of them, they die. And then we're forced to start over from square one again. So,
And to tell you, it's not just a state problem, it's federal. For those that actually follow what's going on in D.C., Scott, in 2022, they had the omnibus bill. Okay. And part of that omnibus bill dealt with the National Highway Safety Transportation Agency. Maybe I got that a little backwards, but y'all get the gist of it.
yeah.
They were instructed by Judiciary that in that bill, the language looked like it promoted motorcycle profiling as part of their funding. And they were instructed, they were given 120 days to get back to the states and then report back to them with their findings. Okay?
Okay.
Now you have Tony, who's been a big time ABATE for over 25 years, right?
Yeah.
Has anybody talked to you?
No, absolutely not. They have done nothing.
Nothing.
In their 6 months now, it's turned into over 18, hasn't it?
Well, they were supposed to get back with the Judiciary Committee in Washington, D.C. within 120 days of December 21st, 2022. Here we are into 2024, and they have yet to report back with their findings. And
Wow.
being in the community since 1991 here in Kansas, I came here after Desert Storm. I'd like to think I'm pretty well known. If anybody needed to reach out to Tony, myself, nobody's reached out to any of the motorcycle rights organizations that I know of.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a problem. People don't realize it. Does every motorcyclist get profiled every day when they go somewhere? No, they don't. But the bulk of them, if they've ridden any time in their life for some time, they have been profiled once or at least. So it's out there. What we need is your support to get some traction on this legislation. Call your senator, call your House person. That being said, I was just reminded we've got an event coming up on January the 30th at the state capitol. It's called Bikers Under the Dome, and I'd like to fill that building full of motorcyclists. That is the day that we go up there and force and try to do lobby. It's on the 30th in the second floor rotunda at the state capitol. Starts at 9 a.m. and lasts till about 3 p.m. Please come, show up, support us, and also take time to call your legislator and make an appointment. Go in and talk to them. They love nothing more than to see people in their office from their particular district. They like it when you come to them instead of them have to come to you. So
Right on.
by any means,
That's
please show up.
January the 30th.
Yes.
Okay.
If you have any questions, reach out to Jimbo or I or Tammy Ward. We'd even help you find your legislator. And we have done this in the past. If you feel intimidated talking to your legislator, show up. I'll go down there with you and hold your hand and introduce you and get you started. And I guarantee that when it's all said and done, you're gonna say, "Well, that wasn't too bad. I'm gonna do this again."
I'll tell you what, on that subject, you're talking about legislative issues and everything. One that's really been on my mind a lot, that, I think both you guys are pretty well rehearsed in it, is the Repair Act that's going on. And just wonder, this is one that when it came to my attention, I was shocked. I just was like, what? This is going on? And so I'm going to let Tony and Jimbo kind of bring you up to speed on what that's about, and then maybe circle back and talk about, what that means to people like me.
Well, currently in our federal legislature, we've got H.R. 906, which is called the Right to Repair Act. This Right to Repair Act actually gives us the ability to get in and get the data to fix our own vehicles, get the parts to fix our own vehicles, whether they be OEM or aftermarket. If without this act, down the road, you're going to start seeing aftermarket shops close, little shops like Scott close because they can't get the data to work on them, can't get the tools to work on them because a lot of stuff's being put together with specialty tools, or the information to work on them. Jimbo was telling me about a little auto repair shop there in Lyons this last week.
Well, I talked to one of the owners.
So it's not just motorcycles?
No,
No. That's a good point, Tammy. A lot of people don't realize what we're doing does not pertain strictly to motorcycles. This filters over if you own a car or a lawnmower. All right.
John Deere tractor,
John Deere tractor.
whatever it is.
Exactly. If under the right to repair, they're trying to force you to be able to, if you have to get your lawnmower fixed, you need to bring it back to the John Deere dealer you bought it from. If you got a Dodge car, you have to bring it to the Dodge dealers. So your mom and pop shops on the corner, they're trying to push them out of business. And one of the things, Tony, also with the right to repair, a lot of these car dealerships, these major conglomerates, if you will, you need specialized tools, and they're not providing the specialized tools. A friend of mine in Topeka owns his own, it's a big semi-truck repair place. They refused to give him the information, and he had to send his mechanic to Omaha, Nebraska to learn how to repair this because they refused to give, and he had to pay to have his mechanic go do that. So, I mean, everything from motorcycles on up to semi-trucks.
Yeah, so it's a pretty widespread deal. Obviously, what's it do to a local shop like us? Well, it just kills us. I mean, absolutely, because what this really means is, not as much, okay, forget about me, forget about my shop. Who cares? What about you? What this means to you is you no longer have the ability or decision making in your hands. If you got to go get your Harley worked on, you're going to the dealership, and that's it. Just bottom line, because the dealership is the only one that's technically authorized and has the specialty equipment. A lot of you people ride with ABS brakes. Maybe everybody's heard all these horror stories with ABS brakes on bikes. Oh my God, you can't bleed them. Nobody can bleed them anymore. You know why? They created special tools for that. I can buy those tools. They're not cheap, but I have been able to buy tools like that to be able to bleed brakes on these late model bikes and everything, and do it right. And so ultimately what this means would be we're not allowed to work on bikes anymore. And you have to go to the dealerships, and not saying that's bad. Sometimes the dealership is the right place, but that's your choice. You need to make that choice, whether it's your car, if it's your lawnmower, your tractor, your motorcycle, it doesn't really matter. This is widespread all the way across. So this is one that's been pretty heavy on my mind.
This legislation is at the federal level. This HR 906. We, as Motorcycle Riders Foundation and many other groups, have tried really hard to push this. We, for some reason, can't seem to make it take a lot of traction. So there are a lot of states, and I think Jimbo and I are going to jump in on this, see if we can't get some kind of legislation like this introduced at the state level, something maybe where we can make it happen. A lot of your legislators up there in Washington, D.C. won't sign on to this, but if you go back and follow the money, that tells you why they won't sign on to it.
So we have a question from Philip West. He also commented that he didn't know anything about about the Right to Repair Act. So maybe, Jimbo, you can answer this. What can small shops do to get on board? And we could go talk about the MRF, about the ICMA. You want to talk a bit on that? It should be right there in that.
You want to take that?
No, I'll let you.
Okay.
Flip it over.
What I've been doing is I joined the MRF, the Motorcycle Riders Foundation, and like I said, I'm a representative for them for the clubs, and I believe Bill Cooper does it for basically everybody else.
I'm just an assistant rep, but I can do anything Bill can do. The best thing to do if you want to tackle it at the federal level is call your federal legislator. You tell me where you live, I can tell you who your federal legislator is. I'm not sure we want to bad talk
any. What shops can do, and they can get involved with the MRF on that ICMA. They have a special membership that they can join. So.
Right.
And I think we talked about that, Scott.
Yeah.
Plus, what I do as an individual, like being a member of the MRF, we get what's called call to actions. Whenever something like this comes down, we get a call to action. And for everybody to call your legislator and say, hey, look, this is coming up for a vote in legislation, and we need your support. And what I do is I go to the local shops. Like I said, I live in Lyons, Kansas, and the shops have welcomed me with open arms. It's unbelievable. But, the face of the motorcycle industry has been changing for some time. To end that fair play between traditional aftermarket shops and the new resale of models presents many challenges for any motorcycle business owner. That don't mean motorcycles only. We're talking cars. Like I said, everything, lawnmowers. The big thing is to get with your representatives and let them know that they need to support us, especially in this time. If you've been to a Harley Davidson dealer, good Lord, a brand new Road Glide is more than $40,000 now. Never mind trying to get it repaired, But yeah, you can get involved with the MRF. They'll send you the call to actions. You get in touch with your legislators. You call your friends. You forward it on your emails. You do everything you can do to flood that. And it does, in fact, make a difference.
I would say in the short term for him, the best thing for him to do is call his federal legislator and tell him to co-sponsor HR 906.
Yes.
Jimbo and I have just run ourselves ragged over the last 9 months talking with our federal legislators, and it seems like we're just kind of banging our head in the wall, but we haven't given up yet. If we need more people that just live out in the public.
So we have another question from Dawn. It says, this sounds like it could have a snowball effect where cars, trucks, and motorcycle parts could be affected, but what would it do to parts suppliers, people like AutoZone, O'Reilly, and Napa?
Oh, you're spot on. There is definitely a domino effect with this. It's a lot more than just, a small business here. I'm small business. I've got four employees plus myself, so there's 4 employees that are going to lose their job. But you're absolutely right. What about all the people that produce all the aftermarket parts? What about for our car lot, all the stuff we go by to service those cars from our local auto parts stores? I've got a rock solid store next door to me down here. And by the way, quick plug for me. If you've never been to Rose Motor, that is the number one place in town for auto parts. I love those guys. But
if they don't got it, nobody's got it.
that's right. But anyway, so you've got that whole downward spiral of all. I mean, if you think about all the effects it has, it's so large, and it will absolutely turn this economy upside down, and a lot of people will get unemployed over it.
Let me jump in here on this little flyer I'm looking at also, and this will go back to the question. You could probably Google Independent Motorcycle Aftermarket Network, okay? And I'm sure there's going to be a question and answer segment there that could probably answer those questions better than I could. Yeah, and Tammy said she'll post it, so.
And we can talk about bikers.
Okay, well, another event coming up is Bikers in the Beltway. This next coming year, it'll be held in St. Louis.
Washington, D.C. as our national holiday.
Okay. I'm ahead of myself.
Yes, you are.
Okay, I'm thinking of another event. Bikers Inside the Beltway is an event that's held about the 3rd Tuesday in May, and anybody that can go to this, go to Washington, D.C. is absolutely a fantastic time to go walk the halls and lobby with your federal legislators. There again, you need to make an appointment before you go, because walking into their office just didn't. Most likely you will never talk to your legislator, but you will talk to their aide. And in all honesty, the aide is the one you want to talk to anyway, because they're the ones that really make things happen.
And I just found out last night, I received a phone call that this year for the Bikes in the Belt, and I'm going to spring this on Tony and Tammy. It may not be fair, but I'm going to do it anyway. But they're trying to organize an actual ride to where we can get with the legislators who actually ride in Washington, D.C., and we can all ride together
Way
in
cool.
unison. You know, I think that would
Be
cool.
way cool.
Yeah.
And you know, we used to do that before COVID hit. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes. They're trying to bring it back, Tammy.
Well, we used to do that in May too with the governor,
Mhm.
you know, on Motorcycle Awareness Month. So
Let them know that. Yeah, what
So-
May is.
May is also in Kansas, or traditionally nationwide, has also been Motorcycle Awareness Month. We
Yep.
have gone to our state governor and got her to sign a proclamation for the last many years as I can remember. I've done it the last maybe 4, but some years she'll meet with you out on the lawn. Some years she'll just sign it and send it to you. You don't, kind of depends on what kind of mood you catch her in. The last several years, I've also done a motorcycle awareness month for Hutchinson, Kansas. Scott's been down there with me to talk to the
Yep.
city hall. So they've been real receptive.
Yes, they have.
Go to a commission meeting. Like I said, I'm new to Lions, and it's kind of funny when I walk into a room and people look at it like, oh, what does he want? You know, that type of deal. Right? But
I think that's called profiling.
That's right. That is profiling.
Exactly. You
Look
know,
at this guy.
you know, you got the chief of police in the corner giving you the old eye, you know. But seriously, I went to the city commission meeting in Lyons, and I encourage everybody to do this in the cities you live in. Proclamations don't just have to come from the state. The city of Lyons welcomed me with open arms in that meeting, and they actually did a proclamation for Motorcycle Awareness Month for the month of May, just for the city of Lyons. And when
Yep.
you go into the city on Highway 56, they got the big marquee at their convention center, and it's right there, Motorcycle Awareness Month. Be aware, motorcycles are everywhere, and it's
Right
really
on.
great. A lot of your cities will really help you out with that.
Okay.
Right on. Let's see what else you got here, Tony. You wanna
Meeting of the Minds.
talk
I
about
jumped the
Meeting of
gun
the
on
Minds?
that.
Yeah.
Meeting of the Minds is another place that motorcyclists are most welcome. It's sponsored by the MRF, Motorcycle Riders Foundation. And this is our 30th anniversary, 40th. And it's a good place to go visit with other motorcyclists and see how they deal with the issues in their state, because I guarantee you there'll be motorcyclists there from every state in the union. So it's the networking is just spot on. I mean, you can't beat it. There
Yep.
again, St. Louis, September 26th through the 29th.
All right. Perfect.
If I could throw one more thing out there,
Absolutely.
I'm going to go a little off script here, Tammy. There's another piece of legislation y'all need to keep in mind, legislation, and it's coming. All right. The previous president nixed it, said, no, this is not going to happen. All right. Right now, they're looking, and it's going to hit the books again, I think, in 2025 or 2026, to where they're coming out with called end of life for vehicles. If you're not familiar with end of life for vehicles, it's been going on in Europe now for years. That when your vehicle hits a certain age, I believe it's 20 years, 20 or 25 years in Europe, it gets turned in for destruction. Now, what does that do to your car clubs? Like one of the oldest car clubs in the United States is the Beatniks. They're right here in Kansas. If you go to Salina, every year they're all over the place, all these old cars. And in order to keep it, you'd have to pay a yearly tax. And it's ridiculous, you know. But once that vehicle hits a certain age, it's gone. And it's basically wiped out swap meets and car shows in Europe.
Oh, wow.
And it's coming. It's already been proposed once here. And I'm here to tell you, without getting too overly political, there's people out there that wants to see the internal combustible engine go away.
Yep.
At all costs. And it's guys like Tony, Tammy, ABATE, all your state SMROs, you know, motorcycle
So what's
rights.
an SMRO?
An SMRO is a motorcycle rights organization.
State motorcycle.
State motorcycle. SMRO is a state motorcycle rights organization. I mean, to be perfectly honest with you, A-Bay's been leading the fight in Kansas long before the Confederation clubs came along. And if I might just take just a second here, it said the strength of the Confederation club is coming together to defend our constitutional rights and further motorcycle lifestyle. And I can't think of a better way to do it than to team up
Yes.
Right on.
all together. The independent shops.
You can have a better fight if you got more numbers. So
Yes.
And that's really total. From 100,000 foot looking down, that's what motorcycles have always been about, is togetherness.
Yes.
I mean, the unity, the brotherhood. I always tell people that, they're like, well, what do you ride? I say everything. But
you're one of those that has that option.
Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. I know back in the day there was a lot of rivalry between metric cruisers and American made and all that. But that's all gone. I mean, really, it doesn't matter what you ride. But that's how things get done. There's strength in numbers, and we've got a lot of numbers. So we just gotta pull it all together.
Yeah.
So
this is where we lean on you people to, talk to your legislator. I mean, simple email, and I'm going to use an example. I was at the state capitol last week, but the week before I called one of our representatives up in the Kansas City area, and his name was also Tony. And I said, hey, this senator is in your district. Can you get some of your people to start sending her emails? So when Jimbo and I walked in her office last Thursday, she looked at me and she says, well, are you the Tony that emailed me? And I said, nope.
Well, Mr. Rawls Riley is watching, so you might know him.
Thank you, Tony Rawls Riley. She got your email and read it.
Now, if I could regress real quick back to the profiling issues.
yes, sir.
Okay. You want to know what you can do? Well, there's a thing out there called the Motorcycle Profiling Project, MPP. Every year they have a survey. All right. And every year, I've been the first chair of the Kansas Confederation of Clubs for 3 years now. And I've been promoting this survey. And every year, the state of Kansas is in the top 10 in participation. All right. Google MPP, Motorcycle Profiling Project, or you can go to the Motorcycle Riders Foundation webpage, the MRF, and you can take the survey. It's 5 questions. None of them are personal. The most personal question they ask is, what's your zip code? Which, if you live in one of the larger cities in Kansas, like Wichita, Topeka, it tracks, and we get a printout every year, which I will have available at the Bikers Under the Dome, that shows where the participants are. Okay? And it's amazing to see, because a lot of people say, well, only the bikers take this and the club members and what have. Right now, for the last 4 years that I know of, it's been people who have not club affiliated. It's independents who have been leading the way in taking this survey. And I think it's great because there's over 100,000 registered motorcycles in Kansas. And if I can get 10% of those people to take that survey, who knows what we could actually accomplish in doing that.
Yeah.
Right on.
We need your help.
Right on.
Yeah.
All right.
You guys got any upcoming events you want to talk about?
Yeah, we might get off of a little bit of the legislative stuff, and let's talk about a little bit of other activities that are coming up. We have an event that we'll be doing here in about 2 weeks or so. That's coming up fast.
3 weeks.
This is a show at the Douglas County Fairgrounds in Lawrence, and it's a winter show. It's indoors though, so it's really the antique motorcycle club. Is that correct?
Vintage,
Yeah, the vintage motorcycle. So we'll be out there. You can come see us. Drop by our booth, say hi. Probably bring a couple of vintage bikes out there. I don't know. We might throw a knucklehead in the trailer or something fun like that. I don't know. So that's coming up on Sunday, February 4th. So Sunday, don't tell me you got to work. If you got to work, you need to talk to whoever's making you work. So other than that, coming up in May, we will have our Motorcycle Mayhem event. I'm not going to throw the date out there quite yet because we are working on entertainment, what we're going to bring to that event. And our date is a little dependent on availability. So keep watching. You'll see that unveil. But, last year we had the Globe of Death, motorcycle riders. We brought that right down here, downtown Hutchinson. So we got to do something way cool. So we're working on that. That'll be coming up. Also, we have Thunder on the Speedway. This previous show was the event that was in Pleasanton, Kansas. This has been moved to the Kansas City area. Where is it? Lakeside Speedway in Kansas City. And if you've never been to this event, this is a phenomenal event. I mean, amazing event, and free. That's one thing
I think you're adding a perishable can of food for this.
Okay, yeah, we're looking for a donation. Yeah, okay. Feed somebody, it's free. But this is an amazing event. They bring top notch show. Different things going on. So keep an eye out for that coming up. We'll be there too. Past that, what else we got? That kind of the main things here in the
Main things, yes.
immediate. So
We got Thursday is
yeah, we'll be here. If you're here in Hutchinson, we'll be over at the third Thursday at Memorial Hall here in a couple nights. That's 2 nights away now. Woo! So we'll be over there. You can drop by and see us there. It won't be like our third Thursdays here. If you haven't been to our third Thursdays at the store, plan for that this summer because we always do a lot of giveaways. We got food. We have Brett's Injury Law out here helping support and giveaways. So those are all good events. What else? Do we want to talk I don't know. Any bike preference? Does anybody? I know what Jimbo rides, and I love what Jimbo rides. So he's definitely a road glide guy at this point, and he's got a really cool bike, and we get the privilege of working on it when it comes in for service. So.
Oh yeah, and don't think I don't appreciate it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm telling you, Scott. For me, this is just awesome. When I walked into your shop for the first time, it was like stepping back in time. It's like walking into a tattoo parlor and look around and see the flashes still on the walls. You know what I mean? It's not, well, here's my alcohol, I'm going to spray you down. I mean, this place is just awesome. Like the T-shirts hanging everywhere, the leathers, the bikes, everything. I love this place.
Well, thank you.
I really do.
Yeah. It's pretty. It's a different shop. If you haven't been in, come in, check us out. I chase a lot of specialty niche type bikes, stuff you're not gonna necessarily find at all your bike shops. You'll at any given time, coming in here, you'll see things like some of the choppers. We got a Bourget in the back room, a Bourget Dragon we're working on right now. That actually that bike isn't even going to get the showroom. It's already sold, if you can imagine that. But it's a phenomenal machine. Just a lot of vintage. I love the vintage stuff. So my ears perked up when you talk about 20 years. I was like, "Are you kidding me? They're just getting good."
So you had a comment from Brittany Marshall. She wanted to know if you could talk about the building next door.
Talk about the building next door? Well, we can. Brittany Marshall, she might be related. She might be. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. So we have purchased the building next door. That's a future expansion for Salty Cycles because we're crowded. If you've been in here, At any given time, you'll see about 20 to 25 motorcycles in this front room and a pool table. 9-foot regulation vintage, by the way. So anyway, so we're crowded. The plan with the building next door is to double our showroom space, put in a full parts counter, and we'll have a service rider there. And then we're going to have about six to 8 bays of motorcycle service back there. So that's next step for Salty Cycles in our growth plan. So, that's that.
I'd like to thank Brett's Injury Law for what they do for not only Salty Cycles, but A-Bait and the motorcycling world. And they also donated our microphone system tonight. So I want to thank everybody out at Brett's. Yeah,
Brett's, they have been rock solid in supporting everything we're doing.
And the community.
The community. If you ride motorcycles around Kansas, you probably don't even know how much Brett's is actually backing. Matt Brett's, he and I grew up together, and he's a motorcycle rider too. Go in his law office, you'll see he's got an '09 Crossbones in there, and he has one of the sweetest buells that I ever had. It is gone. Yeah. But So Matt, I think his right of choice. I believe he's got around a 2020 Heritage as well. But so Matt's a rider, and he is all about the motorcycle community, and they are literally at about every one of our events, and third Thursdays, and I just can't say enough good about them.
Absolutely, and they've been a humongous supporter of A-Beta Kansas. I just can't say enough good about them.
Right on.
In fact, backtrack a little bit to Spikers Under the Dome. On January the 30th, Brett's Injury Law is providing the sack lunches. Sponsored them.
Excellent. Way cool.
So hopefully next month we can get some money from Brett's over here and do this again.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. That would be awesome. So,
anybody got anything else they want to share tonight?
The last thing I want to share is when it comes to the legislative side of the House and what's going on, not only in the capital, Topeka, but in Washington, D.C. I have a very, very good friend of mine, more like family than a friend. His name is Russell with the Soldiers for Jesus Motorcycle Club. And about 2 or 3 years ago, he came to me and just about had to take a bat to me to get me involved in all of this. But the words he said to me, I'm going to share with you all out there tonight. Even though Tony, myself, all these motorcycle rights organizations out there, we cannot do this alone. And what we're asking is for your help to help us get these bills passed and put into law. We can't rely on 2 people or 3 people to pull the wagon for everybody. And then Russell said to me, and I'll say to you, if not you, who?
Right on.
That's all I have to say about it.
Right on. That's powerful. All right. Well, with that, we'll close this one up tonight, and plan on tuning in again next month. We'll see who all we can get in here and continue these. Until then, stay safe. Keep 2 wheels on the ground.
Thank you, Scott, for the
Hey,
invitation.
thanks.
Yep. It's all been good.
Thanks, guys.
You did a
Appreciate
good
it.
job.